Good day. I'm Maricel B. Bagaslaw from Section OL 22E55, subject of Criminal Law Book 1. In this video, I'm going to recite some of the topics of the Criminal Law Book 1, Chapter 5. Let's start with the classification of penalties under Article 25 of the Revised Penal Code. Under Article 25 of the Revised Penal Code, penalties are classified into principal, which is provided by law for a felony and which is imposed by the court expressly upon conviction, and accessory, deemed included in the imposition of the principal penalty. Under the Article 25, the penalties which may be imposed under different classes are these included in the following: the scale principal penalties. Capital punishment is equal to death. Afflictive penalties, these are reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, perpetual or temporary absolute disqualification, perpetual or temporary special disqualification, and prison mayor. Correctional penalties, these are prison correctional, arresto mayor, suspension, and destierro. Light penalties, these are arresto menor and public censure. Penalties common to the three preceding classes: fine and bond to keep the peace. Next is the scale accessories penalties. Principal or temporary absolute disqualification, perpetual or temporary special disqualification, suspension from public office, the right to vote and to be voted, for the profession or calling, civil interdiction, indemnification, forfeiture, and confiscation of instrument and proceeds of the offense, payment of cost. Duration of penalties, Article 27. Reclusion perpetua, 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. Reclusion temporal, 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. Prison mayor and temporary disqualification, 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, except when the penalty of disqualification is imposed as an accessories penalty, in which case its duration shall be that of the principal penalty. Prison correctional, suspension, and destierro, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years, except when suspension is imposed as an accessory penalty, in which case its duration shall be that of the principal penalty. Arresto mayor, 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. Arresto mayor, 1 day to 30 days. Bond to keep peace, the bond shall required to cover such period of time as the court may be determined, as amended by Section 21, Republic Act No. 7659. Successive service of sentences. Under Article 70 of the Revised Penal Code, the penalties in the order of severity and for the purpose of successive service of sentences have the following scale. Death, Republic Act No. 9446, signed into law on June 24, 2006, prohibited the imposition of the death penalty. Reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, prison mayor, prison correctional, arresto mayor, arresto minor, destierro, perpetual absolute disqualification, temporal absolute disqualification, suspension from public office, the right to vote and be voted for, the right to follow profession or calling, and public censure. Complex crimes, when a single act constitutes 2 or more grave or less felonies, or where an offense is unnecessary, means for committing the other, the penalty for the most serious crime shall be imposed to be opened in its maximum period. Article 48 of the Revised Penal Code. Article 48 speaks of two types of complex crimes. First, when single act constitute two or more grave or less grave felonies, compound crime, delito compuesto. Second, when an offense is a necessary means of committing the other, complex crime proper, delito complejo. Article 48 is not applicable in case of special complex crimes, specifically provided for in the revised penal code like robbery with homicide or rape, or with arson. It applies only when no specific penalty is stated in the law. In complex crime, although two or more crimes are actually committed, they constitute only one crime in the eyes of the law. The offender has only one criminal intent. Hence, there is only one penalty imposed.